So we're going to be diving into staff management right now. You permit me, I'll be looking down a lot because I read them out. There are like a whole lot. Some of them I'll touch briefly, some I'll talk extensively on. If you have any questions afterwards, you can send me a personal message, or you can send a message on the group. This is not like the only class that I cover in terms of like business structure. We have a comprehensive 2 months one-on-one coaching business structure class that you can take if you feel like you still need to like brush up on other aspects of your business structure basically. And also we have like a short 2-day course for things like staff management and some other like exact points on this issue of business structures. So you can always like send me a message if you are interested, or if you want to like expand more on everything that we are talking about, or if you need somebody to push you and make sure you achieve your business goals. So let me just dive right in. So I'm going to start with the recruitment process. You have to know who exactly it is you want to hire. It's very important. Do you want to get an intern? Because it's going to kind of like tailor how you write things like your contracts, how you like give them loose hands and all that. Of course, you don't expect to give strong hand to an intern as much as you give to a paid staff. So you have to know what exactly it is you're hiring, and also your payment, how much you are willing to pay would also determine how much you expect from your staff. So if you have to decide if the person is an intern. If the person is an intern, I'm sure you guys will have probably had an agreement of how many times they'll be coming in a week. You already know that for interns they are learning on the job, so you are going to be a little bit lax with them. If it's paid staff that you're going to be paying salary, you know that okay, this is salary based. I'm going to move on to the next discussion about salary. Anyways, you know that it's salary based. If you're taking contract staff, maybe you are actually like outsourcing your business, you have to have a staff structure for even like a contract staff. So contract staffs are usually like people that you go and outsource to. For example, like when I started making clothes, I started with male natives, so I had contract staff. I had tailors that I was going to give my orders to, and then they get it done. Also, are you going to be using production companies? Those are the things that you need to know. How many staff do you want to get? I would advise, especially if you're a startup, you should do some contracts while you do some like paid. Even if you have all the money to spend on your business, it's not wise, especially when you're just starting up or when you're just starting out. It's not wise for you to put in all the money into your business. You need to test first and see if it's working, and then you put in more money. So even if somebody gives you an investment of, for example, let's say 10 million naira, you still cannot put in all the 10 million naira at once, especially if you're just starting. Like if you're just about to start from scratch. Like you need to test first. Maybe start with 1 million. If it yields profit, you push in more money, like that. So that's just how it is. I would advise like you contract things like personal assistants, or things like that there are just some things like you can contract out. I mean, some little things that you don't need to be paying them salary for, if you know that you don't need so much of their services. That is one. So knowing who you are going to recruit is actually very crucial as to how you are going to manage that staff. Also, you want to also think about payments right now. You also want to think about payments right now. I personally would advise any fashion designer to use both methods joined together. That's commission plus salary, because at the end of the day, you're enjoying the advantages of both methods. Meanwhile, the disadvantages, you're reducing it a little bit. So for commissions, most times the disadvantage of it is because they know that they are getting paid per outfit. They might tend to rush your clothes just because they want to make more. For salary, they might be lax because they know that, okay, even if I don't do this amount of clothes at the end of the month, I'm still going to get my salary. That's why I advise you to mix both of them together. So you have a salary, for example, I'm paying Taylor 30,000, and then I may probably you now decide, okay, this is the amount of clothes that this person should be able to make at the end of the month. That's actually what is called the monthly performance rate. So this is I'm going to insert some voice notes of my friend that I actually collected while I was doing research on this work, because a lot of these methods are actually used in the banking industry. Some of you guys are bankers. I know some of my old students that are on this group at this moment, they are bankers, and they know how things run in the bank. So I use the bank as like a kind of like a case study, because I know that it is very, very properly structured.
And like our daily run rate, there's something we call our daily run rate, like you calculating your run rate. How do I put it now? Okay, let me use this thing now. Let me just make an example. Let me say your target for loan it's 50 million in a month now. You already know your target. Or let me use okay, let me say 50 million, and we would measure it by our working days. In almost every month, working days is always at least, I think, 20 working days. You get, so give or take, your daily run rate should be like 4 million daily or thereabouts. I don't know the amount, I can't say him, but let me just say 4 million daily. So what you do is that first and first, now you have your monthly targets and you have your daily run rates. You might not be getting your daily figures. There are days you probably eat more than your daily figures. There are days you won't even do anything. But at least by before the end of the month, be in meet your target. That's actually what it is for you to meet your target. So one way or the other, they will measure you by the targets given to you and what you probably come out with at the end of the month. So if your target is 50 million now and you surpass your target, that means you know that okay, you are above 100% of your target. That one is an excellent performance for that month. If you're below 50, at least be 70% of your target.
So you want to like, no, okay, this is I'm going to be making this person should be able to make me 30 clothes at the end of the month for 30,000. So if you divide the 30,000 by, let's assume that they are by 30 clothes, that means one cloth is going to, and let's assume that the 30 clothes is for like 30 days of the week. So that means one cloth is 1,000. That means you make one cloth for 1,000 in one day. So you get it right now. So the daily run rate is 1,000 naira for one clothes. So if you know that, and you tell the client, your staff, while they are recruiting the staff, it's easier to do it when they're just starting, because you know that okay, this is how things are done here. It's either you take it or you leave it. You can also implement it if you already have staff, but you know it will take a while for them to adjust and all. That's why it's better for you to start it from scratch. So you let them know from the recruitment stage, this amount of money I'm paying you for a month, I am expecting you to give me this amount of clothes. And if you default, that means I'll remove 1,000 naira from every clothes that you did not make. So if at the end of the month you are giving me 25 clothes instead of 30, then I'm going to give you 25,000 instead of 30,000. I think you get it right now. That is for now. Then the new employment orientation guide, that serves as a guide for you as the manager or as the CEO to make sure that all those things, like you need to checklist it when you are recruiting a new staff, like all of those are all the things you must have discussed and communicated to them, because the truth is that a lot of staff hide under the fact that you do not communicate these things to them. So at the end of the day, like, oh, I did not know, they will not come early, even though maybe they probably had other people's jobs to do. I don't care if they have other people's jobs to do, but don't do it during the time you're supposed to be working for me. That, like, you're supposed to state all these things, communicate every single thing you want, because the truth is, when there's communication, the person knows that you cannot do anything less, or you cannot fall short of anything less than that. I need to be sure that this thing is. So the next thing is, and the truth is that most of these things I took my time to traditionally write down for you. A lot of big companies use them as computer systems or as tech systems. So, and I put an example there, Synergita. I can probably put the link to how the system runs, like so you can see how a video on how it works on YouTube. So you can see that most of these things are actually, so sorry about that sound. It's the water heater. Most of these companies actually use them. It's just that they've automated the whole system, so it seems like okay, that's the normal thing. But it's better to do if you have staff that are not like computer savvy. I know that some apps, some of these systems are actually on phone, but you have to pay for them. Some of them, just any kind of company cannot even access them because they have like very big clients, like very big companies. So you know that they are very expensive and they are like hard to work with, especially if you have a client that is not all that tech savvy. So it's always nice for you to have it traditionally. It's easier for you and your clients. You can create like a work board and pin down all like a work notice board and pin down all these tiny things, so everybody is seeing it and everybody knows what's up. So the orientation guides, I'm just going to run through it a little bit. You already have that. You know that when a client, when a staff is about to start work, that means like first day of resumption is supposed to be orientation day basically. That's after you discuss price and the person already starts working for you, or before the person decides to start working for you. You can have a day for orientation when you introduce the person to the office, how the work is done, what your business processes are, what is expected of the person's hours of work. You need to tell them, I expect you to get to work at this particular time and you leave at this particular time. Anything short of that, you are going to get a deduction or a penalty of some sort. Then also you have to talk about break times, because that's another thing that reduces staff efficiency. They need to have a particular set break time and they need to know from the onset. So there's nothing like, oh, I used overtime. You already know that if you're using more than, probably maybe it's 1 hour that is allotted for break and you use 2 hours, you already know some amount of money is probably deducted from your salary or there's a penalty of some sort. So I worked in a structured company before I actually, like while I was doing my business, and it really helped me a lot in how I actually kind of structured my business. Even all these things is much more research, because I have done much more research. I have learned so much more. Even some things that I wasn't like using in my own business, I have done research so that going forward I'm going to make all those things perfect. So you know, everything is work in progress. You need to keep learning. If you worked in a very, very structured environment, a very structured company, think of how the system works, tailor them to suit you. Nobody is saying that you should follow this planner to the T. For example, the handbook I put as it's just a sample. You probably not list their entire long thing for your clients or for your staff to read and everything. You pick the one that works out for you, tailor it to your business and make it work. That's it majorly. Then the next thing is employee worksheets. Trust me, they are very important. It is better to have everything written down than to be doing word of mouth. I'm telling you, word of mouth gets people into trouble. Try to have everything written down. Like once it's written down on paper, everybody knows that this is serious. So you want to have, for this staff, like each of your staff, you want to have like all their weekly orders. If you know all the monthly orders, for example, maybe you do ready to wear, you know how all your orders for the month is supposed to be. Do a monthly work order for each of your staff. Then do a daily one, so you know that every day, this is, you give it to them every day during staff meeting. This is this person's work. This is the person's priority for that day. Maybe they are to make 2 clothes, but one is more important. These are the materials the person is needing. The person will write it down for you, maybe the day before, or the materials needed. The materials you gave them is going to also be included, because that way there's nobody stealing anything from you. Everybody knows that okay, this was what was given to so and so person on this particular day. So if you already budgeted, okay, stay 120 yards is going to be enough for like 2 weeks. You already know that if somebody is taking 2 yards every day, you can calculate it and come out with, okay, this is who used it to this particular point. And if it is short, everybody knows, everybody has to come up with what happened to it that it's short. All these things will make sure that you can actually leave your business and be sure that work is being done. Because the truth is, if there are no structures in place, anybody can run mad. I'm telling you. But if there are structures, even a mad person will calm down when they've seen somewhere that there's rules and there's regulations and there's penalties. So you want to put notes, then you want to create a dashboard for everybody's order, because it's very important that aside from seeing the one-on-one personalized one, everybody sees what everybody's duties are. Number one, you'll not be able to forget somebody's order. So everybody would obviously just know what is particularly supposed to be done. And also, if there's a day that, for example, you are not available to do the staff meeting, somebody else can anchor it and give everybody what they are supposed to do. That's just it. Then daily staff meeting, it is so important. Like, it is so important because it sets the tune for the day. Every day, like, there's no like structured business or structured company that they do not have meeting in the morning, or they have some meeting of some sort in the morning. So that's where they are delegating duties. This is what you're evaluating what was being done the day before. This is where you did properly. This is where you went wrong. Try not to repeat this error again. You as a staff, you have some particular role. As the manager, you have some particular rules. For example, you want to set the performances. You want to state individual performances as well. So there's a group goal and then there's individual goals. Then also you want to provide feedback on what they've done the day before or what they've done the week before. And also you want to review the feedback, the performances, because it is not just enough for you to give jobs or delegate duties. You also have to review how they have done. It is so important, which leads me to KPI, that's Key Performance Index.
KPI is Key Performance Index. Okay, Key Performance Index, it's what indicates how you have been able to meet your set targets. Every firm gives you a target to work with, and at the end of the month or quarterly, depends on how the time they actually do the performance review. There's something they call QPR or MPR. It's quarterly or monthly performance review. So your performance review, it's like a meeting or a seminar or conference where they tend to like evaluate every staff performance with their KPI. So the KPIs are those things that make up your target. Maybe let me give an instance now. You're supposed to like bring in 5 million naira in a bank as a staff monthly, and inside the 5 million naira you're supposed to open 10 current account, 5 savings account. All those things, they are your performance index. So everything, all your requirements, all what you're required to do per se, they all comprises of your KPI. So your KPI would be those things that make up all your target, that make up your target. If the company is doing the MPR or the QPR where they evaluate your performance, they bring your performance and rate it with what is required of your KPI. Maybe you are meant to bring in 5 million, they will check how much have you brought. You're meant to open 10 current accounts. How many accounts have you opened that are current accounts? How many savings accounts have you opened? How you went about opening those accounts, getting the fund, who did you get it from, and the time frame you got it. All those things are put in place. Like the company wants you to get 5 million, but someone that gets 5 million earlier on, the company will make more money from a staff that gets the 5 million earlier in the month than a staff that gets the same 5 million late in the month. So all those things, there are some companies that would check the time frame you were able to generate or bring customers that can deposits that 5 million, because someone that deposits 5 million earlier in the month, the company would have used that fund to do more business and more transaction that would generate more income for them than someone that brought ease maybe towards the end of the month. You get all those things are your KPI, what is required of you to that comprises of your target or um, your set variables while working as a staff of a company. Okay.
There are measures to ensure that your staff are actually doing their job. It is for you to know, for them to know, for everybody to know that, okay, you need to be on your toes. If not, there's going to be some issues. So that's key performance index. You also want to use it as a means to know who your best staff is and who the worst staff is. So when, for example, you are thinking of downsizing or letting go of staff, you already know who exactly it is you want to let go of. This is mostly just like kind of like a summary, because this is not one-on-one coaching. For one-on-one coaching, in fact, what we do is for every single meeting that we have a different worksheet and different planner, and then we start to dissect it one by one. I ask you what the situation is in your business, you tell me, we talk about how to sort the problem, what needs to be done better, what you're doing well, active goals. We set goals that you as the manager you are supposed to do, and then the next day we give feedback, or the next week we give feedback. That's how the one-on-one coaching works. But for this, this is like just a summary of most of the discussions. Like, the planner is there to guide you. Ultimately, I'm just trying to like elaborate on it, and if there's anything you really need me to elaborate more on in terms of the planner, you can just send me a personal message or send a message to the group. The group will soon be opened up for discussion, so you can definitely just send a message there. So now I want to just kind of explain the KPI that I have structured out. I did the simplest kind of key performance index I'm sure you would ever see. Basically, I listed what your grades, what the grading system is from 1 to 5. It's just like you are filling a questionnaire. It's going to be so easy for you. You as the manager, you are the one that is going to fill this. Or if you have an HR staff. I don't know if anybody has an HR staff, but that would be so great. So from number 1 is poor, number 5 is very good. So you know what everything is. It's in your planner. You can just check it out. Then I listed some particular points. You don't have to be rigid with those points. You can add your own. Like, it's how you measure your staff performance. So what it is that you expect of them. That's basically what it is. And then you rate them based on how they are doing. The first one I did is overall task giving. So if I gave this person 5 clothes to do, how many of the clothes did he finish up? That's overall task giving. If he finished everything, that would be 5. If he finished none, that would be 1. If you finish half of it, that would be 3. You get the point. Then workload efficiency. How was the fit of the dress at the end of the day? Was there need for amendments? How bad was the amendment? You need to know all that, because you need to know if your staff is messing you up serious and if you need to look for new staff. Then tax dependencies. How much was the person asking for explanation or asking you to help out? How much of your input was actually in the dress? Did you have to do the finishing, or did you have to do you get the point? Except the finishing is your own delegated task, because I know some fashion designers want to do their finishing themselves. I used to be like that. So if that is your own tax, you can add it to this person's tax dependencies. Then client satisfaction. How satisfied was the client with the clothes? Also communication. Does the person communicate properly with you? Are you able to, as in, is the person getting it when you're communicating with them? That's another thing to measure. As well as collaboration. Is he a good team player? You have like 5 staff. Is this one staff getting along with everybody? Is he asking questions? Is he getting work done? If you give like 5 of them a task, is he the one that is defaulting? That's how you measure it. And at the end of the day, me, for example, I had 6 different points, and if 5 is the highest point, so 6 times 5 is 30. So the highest point any staff can actually ever have is 30, and they probably will never have 30. I mean, we're being serious here. You can never just be satisfied with everything they do. So if, for example, the staff has at the end of the day 25/30, I think that's 90% or so. Yeah, I think that's about 80 or 90%. That is still excellent. But if the staff is having something like 40%, that is so ridiculous. You know that this person is already, either the person is put on probation or this person is getting ready to leave. That is how you calculate it, and that's how you use that to like determine what's next for you and your brand.
Now,
Also,
the process of presentation is to get a brief from the bank products, like get you to be informed and pre-informed on the bank products, and also refresh your memory on the bank products as well. So how we do it in Union Bank is at every last day of the month, we draw out a schedule. Now, in that schedule, every staff knows that, okay, this is when I'm going to do the presentation, and this is when I'm going to do the presentation, and this is the topic I'll be giving. If you're going to be doing it with a partner, you will be giving. Now, moving forward, you have to send your presentation. You have to create a slide, a comprehensive presentation slide. Normally prefer a slide that is not too wordy, like not too bulky when it comes to words. Then you send the presentation slide to your supervisor. He vets his presentation slides, he makes corrections, sends it to you. You make those corrections and you send again. And when the supervisor is fully satisfied with the presentation, then he gives you a go ahead to go for the presentation. Now, normally you're supposed to send your presentation slide 2 days before your presentation, so that on the day of your presentation you're ready, you're up and ready. Now, during the presentation proper, you're being given 30 minutes. You shouldn't, because business has to continue, the bank has to resume. So in the space of that 30 minutes, you have to give your presentation, give rooms. Within that 30 minutes, you present your presentation, you give us your slide, you present it, you give room for question and answers, you give room for contributions, and if there's any further announcement that the bank needs to do, then it's fine. Then we have what we call external supervisors coming to give presentations. That one's a different ball game. Like, they come in, and that I think that happens like once in 2 months. External presenters, they come in and they give those presentations regardless. Yes, regardless of. So that's it. Then the essence of the presentation is just to keep you informed, no matter how long you stay in the bank, to keep you informed that, okay, like kind of a form of refresher course.
Last thing I'm going to talk about right now is strategic meetings. Strategic meetings is very important. If you are going to have it once a week, once in 2 weeks, that's what you use to innovate. You used to get feedback. You need to discuss with your staff. They tell you, okay, this is what we want, or this is what we like to have. You talk about it. They do staff presentations. For example, it helps them to remember this is how you're supposed to do something. Maybe this person will discuss on how to cut, how to drape, or how to package the customer's clothes, or this is how to post pictures on Instagram. It's a presentation so that everybody is growing together and your staff does not forget what their job roles are. Also, it's also good to bring like external people. It can even be you teaching them something new, or just helping them generally, doing a presentation that would like make this thing better. There's something I do. I always teach my staff like new stuff every time. So if there's a new thing, call everybody together, let's learn it together, and then they'll give you feedback. So that is like the summary of everything that I have put down on staff management. Of course, I'm up for like there's a one-on-one coaching session for this staff management thing that is like very extremely detailed. Like, we're going to sit down, look at your staff, dissect it one by one, and it's not just for staff management. There's an entire training on business structure in general. So if you're interested in them, I think I have to a large extent, I've really discussed a lot about staff management. If you feel like you still need me to like break it down, you can just send me a message personally, or send, if you have a particular question, you can put it on the group chat for me to answer. So after this now, we're going to move to Victorian corset. Please stay tuned, learn something new. Even if you've learned Victorian corset before, it will be nice for you to see how somebody else has. I mean, I do that a lot, so you can learn. There's always something new to learn, so that would be really nice. You don't know what has updated as well. It was nice really having this conversation. I'll see you guys for the corset training.